I'm not going to review Impact this week, and the reason being is quite simple. I just frankly don't feel like it, so I'm not going to do it. But I do want to talk about a couple of TNA related topics really quickly. First and foremost, as some of you may know, but based off of the ratings for this past week's Impact, a lot of you may not know that Impact is now on a new night at the same time on Spike TV. That's Wednesdays at 9 Eastern, 8 p.m. Central Time. And like I said, judging off of the viewership and the rating for this week's show, TNA, Spike TV, mostly TNA, did not get the word out. They did not get the message across. They did not do a very good job at all of letting people know that they went to a new night but the same time. And you know what? I understand that TNA is kind of in a bad way here right now. They're trying to get a long term deal done with Spike TV or maybe somebody else. And as a result, they're trying to sit there and maybe please Spike TV. And they're kind of at their mercy a little bit. And they're trying to show that they can be good partners for Spike TV long term. So if a Spike TV comes up to them and says, we want to change you to Wednesday nights, they really don't have much of a choice but to do it. And, you know, in an ideal world, sure, you would like to have a lot more time to be able to announce this change and promote this change and advertise this change and market towards this change. But TNA found themselves in a situation where they just really couldn't do that, it seems like. And the results in terms of ratings this week were a complete and unmitigated total disaster. I think it was a 0.65. A 0.65. That's a lower rating than what they drew when they made that ridiculous decision a few years ago to run head to head against Raw on Monday nights. Not good. Not good. And my whole thing with TNA is this. I understand sometimes you got to play the game, and that's the way the cookie crumbles. But this just speaks again to this company's horrible job of marketing and advertising and promoting their product in general. And a big, significant, important company changing change like this, they did little to nothing, in my opinion, to effectively get that word out. And how do I say in any good sense that they failed to get the word out? Look at the rating this week. Going from doing 1.0 and 1.1 to doing a 0.65. Well, clearly part of the reason is the fact that people didn't know you were on a new night. People didn't know that you were on Wednesdays instead of Thursdays. And in this social media age, there just flat out is absolutely no excuse for this. Absolutely none. If you're TNA, every single tweet from last week's show to this week's show should have been about, in my opinion, the new change. The fact that your show was going to appear Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central on Spike TV, not Thursdays like it had done for years. You get your wrestlers to do it. Fuck, you get fans to do it. You get the people to do your work for you in part. That's good advertising. Getting that free word of mouth press. That's the most powerful form of advertising you can get. And of course, TNA doing what TNA so often does, they completely and totally drop the ball on this, and there's absolutely no excuse. You know, if there ever is a time where TNA does go out of business, and I hope it doesn't happen, and I'm not here to say that it will or it's going to happen anytime soon, but if they do ever go out of business, you know, talking about creative and talking about this and that, it's failures like this that will be the ultimate cause. It will be failures like this that TNA and all the people involved have nobody but themselves to blame for creating the situations and the environment that they have. Absolutely no excuse to not be able, in this world, in this age, to be able to get out the message that you're going to be appearing on Wednesday night every week now, not Thursday night. Just completely and totally ridiculous. And what else is ridiculous to me and just completely dumbfounds me to no end is the fact that they get engaged in these long-term storylines with talents that are getting ready to have their contracts expire. And you don't even have a long-term contract really in the works or close to being signed or signed at all. And the most recent example of this, like it was with AJ Styles last year, is now Bully Ray. You devoted all of this energy and time with these New York City tapings into Bully Ray and the fact that he was going to put Dixie Carter through the table. And now you've finally done it. You had a couple of more weeks of television tapings in the tank, and now apparently Bully Ray is done with TNA. You couldn't come to agreement with him on a new contract, whatever the case might be. Why would you sit there as a wrestling company and devote all of this energy and time and precious television time at that to a character that might not even be there a few weeks down the road? Where's the payoff for a TNA long term? Where is the benefit to a TNA long term? To sit there and feature Bully Ray as much as they do each and every single week, engage them in this huge storyline that if you did it with a younger talent, could have potentially made a TNA type of star at least, with the whole thing of putting Dixie Carter through a table. Now you wasted it on Bully Ray, and now you're not going to get potentially any real payoff from that or any real ability to follow up on that at all if TNA has Bully Ray no longer under contract. This was the same crap you did with AJ Styles. Why would you have sat there and done all that crap with AJ Styles and get to the point where, for crying out loud, you gave him your world championship and you didn't even bother to get him signed up to a new long-term deal or a deal of any kind whatsoever? This is just sloppiness. This is just bad business all the way around, and again, so perfectly embodies and typifies what TNA represents as a wrestling company. And again, I hope this company doesn't go under, and I don't think at this point it will go under. But the potential, yes, is there. I hope it doesn't happen, but it could happen. And if it does happen, it will be more of the dumb stuff like this, devoting months and months to something and weeks to a specific storyline that's supposed to have this big huge payoff, all to a guy that isn't under contract, and now you're not going to potentially get any payoff from it whatsoever. So why the hell do it to begin with? It's the same crap you did with AJ Styles, and now you repeated the freaking mistake with Bully Ray. Maybe you would sit there and say, hey, we've only got Bully Ray under contract for a few more weeks. Do we really want to go there with this storyline when this storyline could potentially make somebody into a new top babyface star for us, at least from a TNA level? Or do we want to waste it on the over 40-year-old former ECW WWE guy who might not be here come the end of the year? Oh, and by the way, the same guy that we're inducting into our TNA Hall of Fame come Bound for Glory 2014. So you're inducting a guy who's not even under contract to your company right now. This is just more of the same old stupid stuff that TNA does, and they just can't seem to help themselves. It's like this company can't help but be its own worst enemy, and it's incredibly frustrating to see from the outside looking in, because you would think these would be the basics. You would sit there and bother to take the time and prostitute and slut and whore it out there that Impact Wrestling's on a new night, same time, new night, same channel, Spike TV, Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, that everybody involved with TNA would be tweeting this out, posting about it on Facebook, would be doing interviews about it, doing all this stupid stuff. You'd involve fans in this. God forbid you'd actually want to get some free publicity from your people that actually watch the product and have them help market and promote and advertise the fact that you're on a new time or a new day, same time, same channel. And then you sit there and do stupid stuff like invest all of this time and effort and energy and resources into Bully Ray and this whole storyline of him putting Dixie Carter through a table. It happened, and guess what? Just like I talked about, where do you fucking go from here? Well, if you're TNA, apparently the answer is absolutely nowhere, because the guy that you devoted all that energy to isn't even signed with the company right now. And then the worst thing of all, of course, is the fact that you record weeks of television at a time. Now, with a Bully Ray not being under contract, you still have television tapings, or shows taped with him being featured on television. He's not even under contract, so you don't even have the ability to change plans. You don't even have the ability to call an audible here. You got to ride it out, and then what the fuck happens? Oh, my God. TNA is such a frustrating wrestling company to be a fan of sometimes. And like I said, they have nobody to blame but themselves for the problems that they create ultimately. This is bad. It's just bad. How could you not do a better job of getting the message out that you were going to be on a new date? How could you not do that? How could you sit there and once again repeat your AJ Styles mistake by focusing so much on Bully Ray and his storyline when you didn't even bother to make sure that you got him signed to a long-term deal before you did it? It's just stupid, TNA.